Hi everybody, my name is Derek DeNicola. I'm a writer and producer here in Los Angeles, exploring all the things that interest me about writing, and I should be writing right now, but I'm not. I am actually going to be traversing Reddit because some of the most interesting conversations and most common questions about writing are right there. So let's pull up Reddit, shall we? I landed on this one just because it's so specific. How do you indicate foreshadowing in your screenplays? EraSir345 says that he's writing an 8-episode miniseries, and the opening scene of the first episode is a decaying plot of farmland in flames. Near the end of the series, there's a big twist in which the main characters are betrayed and end up in a burning cornfield, the same one as in the opening shot, framed in such a way that the viewer-reader doesn't notice they were the same until it's already happened. How would you properly notate this in the script so that the director-producer knows these two locations are meant to be the same? It's an interesting question. I don't know that I personally would. I think it's more of a production question, but also you can always make notes in your script. It is supposed to be a blueprint for production, but of course you want to keep it poetic. You want to keep it a fun read, a fast pace. So I'm kind of curious to see how other people might solve this problem. Cherry Dole, believe it or not, they stand in a burning cornfield, which viewers will recognize as the same one from the opening episode 101. All that is in quotes. Yeah, literally type it into the action. Cherry has worked in film and TV for over 20 years, including right now on a big streamer series that used this technique multiple times across the season, but it's pretty standard, happens all the time. To me, that checks out. You know, like I said, it is a blueprint, and sometimes you can't always be poetic. Sometimes the most direct way to say something is to just say what you mean and move on. I believe it's James Mangold, who's a screenwriter, who has adopted the philosophy that his writing style is, he says, I try and write a screenplay like I'm describing a movie to a blind person. I can't get hung up on the details for too long, or else I'll never catch back up on the character or the plot. And I think that sentiment is mirrored here. Anybody else? No, not a lot of other answers, because that's really the way to go. I will say that Warm Baths says that he likes to add, I say he, they like to add ellipses to otherwise normal lines so the reader knows something's up. The latest script I have, character wipes the sweat off their hands, ... the ellipses. And later in the scene, they drop a bottle on someone. The ellipses is almost like foreshadowing in micro time. I do think that it is a good answer, but for something as big as looping back to the same location where your script starts in Act 1 and ends in Act 3, I don't know that an ellipses is always the answer, but it does evoke that. So a good lesson learned today. I know it was a short one, but thanks for sticking around and reading through Reddit for me. Thanks, Scrolly. Thanks for doing this and being our little lab rat. But let's see here. Okay, there we go. Thanks. Now, going to the chat. Scrolly, did you have any questions about foreshadowing today? Because if so, I'd love to hear it. I'm also thinking about examples that I've seen too, which would be, you know what comes to mind? The first thing that comes to mind is actually the opening title sequence to Dexter. Those title sequences, famous, you don't want to sleep on them. It's Dexter waking up, making his breakfast, getting ready for the day. Everything that he does has been turned into serial killer, murderous type imagery. The way that he tightens the shoelaces on his boots looks like he's strangling somebody. The way that he squeezes an orange for the juice that looks like fleshy pulp, and the blood red juice of the orange that he drinks from. The searing of beef for his breakfast. Scrolly, thanks for chatting with me. How do you foreshadow without giving away too much? Well, I mean, that is something that you're going to work out in revisions, but the truth is that you're aiming for setting a tone, not necessarily giving away a plot. You want to give a breadcrumb and not a loaf. essentially. And so foreshadowing is going to allow the writer to create a sense of atmosphere, just to let the reader, watcher, viewer know that something bad is going to happen. And it would really be dependent on what you're writing, but you can always write your piece and then know what you need to foreshadow by going back, kind of retconning your script in Act 1. Gabe has an example too. It was a dark and stormy night. Yeah, the very cliche thing of what all writers kind of roll their eyes at is cliche for a reason, because it works. You know, if you are opening on a dark and stormy night, that a genre of maybe horror, suspense, thriller, you can even use it to subvert expectations. For instance, if it was like a scary movie parody, like one of the many scary movie parodies that were opening on a dark and stormy night, but you really wanted the comedy to land hard, you have foreshadowed through a dark and stormy night that you were in a horror movie, but the moment that the main character, I don't know, whips out a dildo or whatever happens in the scary movie parody movies, you've successfully subverted expectations because you've set them up well. All right, I think that's all I have for now. Do you have any other questions, Scrolly? Okay, cool. It seems like we can wrap up. Scrolly, thanks so much for joining in. And I know you're doing real work, just coding and working your ass off to get it done today. So thanks for stopping by, taking your time to chat with me. It really means a lot. And I look forward to talking with you more in the future too. Now, if you haven't been, you should now get to writing or coding, because coding is writing too. And be sure to like and subscribe and comment. Again, my name is Derek Nicola, writer, producer, working out of Los Angeles, California. And it was a joy to talk to you today.